And I can't tell you how valuable it is that you are helping arm everyone with the information they need to be one less spark out there, and be one less risk to our homes, our communities, and our firefighters. So as we kick off Memorial Day weekend, Washingtonians are out in every corner of the state to soak up our wonderful natural lands. And I know how critical these times are for getting people outdoors and enjoying it, from hiking, biking, camping, and riding ATV. So many of our neighbors are excited to be able to get out and enjoy our beautiful landscape. Unfortunately, we know that it oftentimes can lead to dangerous risk and risk of wildfires. And we don't have to go back very far to remember that when it comes to like the Labor Day firestorm, where we had so many people out on the landscape enjoying nature, but we had horrible conditions that led to some of our most tragic and catastrophic fires. This summer, we are looking at a hot, dry, and windy summer, and we're already under a drought declaration with our forests dry and ready to catch fire at any spark. I know for many of you, the typical rainy Washington Memorial Day is miserable, but for us in the wildfire business, we actually look forward to it. That doesn't necessarily make us anybody's friends, but we look forward to it because we know that means that people are going to be safer. We also know that most of our fires are caused by humans, with more than a third of those fires really being escaped yard debris burns. Last year, we had an exceptionally busy fire season with more than 1,800 ignitions across the state. It was one of the busiest years on record. We also saw, for the first time in recorded history, more fires west of the Cascades than east of the Cascades, as every single corner of the state now has become increasingly under literal fire. We've been able to respond to these with more firepower, but it's also a demonstration of how few people on the west side of the state are actually aware of fire conditions and the risk of fire conditions as early as May. So right now, our meteorologists are seeing some precipitation at the start of summer, mid-June to the 4th of July, but it's going to still be a dry and hot after that, maybe into the fall. I would really like to be able to tell you we're expecting this many fires, but I threw out my crystal ball, frankly, a long time ago, my crystal ball for forecasting fire seasons, because we've had too many surprises. And so our strategy is to prepare for the worst and hope for the best, and hope for the best from the conditions of weather and more moisture and cooler temperatures and less drought conditions, and also hope for the best that people are going to be really safe when they are out in enjoying our natural forest lands and recreation lands. So in 2020, this was truly one of our most challenging years. It was also one of our most challenging, I'd say, holiday weekends, because we had a late wet spring. People may remember how June and July actually had cool temperatures, and we were thinking we might be escaping the catastrophic fires that we had seen in years before, whether it was 2015 or 2016. But you may remember that Labor Day, it was actually, we had wild winds, hurricane force winds that whipped through dried out vegetation. We had more people on the landscape than ever before, enjoying getting outdoors, getting away from their Zoom meetings and their locked in COVID homes, and having a great time. Unfortunately, we had over 56 fire starts in just 24 hours. And coupled with the hurricane force winds and extremely dry conditions, we had 600,000 acres burn in 72 hours. We had the town of Malden literally burned to the ground in just a few hours, with 80% of the buildings being burned out. It was also the time period where we lost, tragically, a little boy's life as his family had tried to outrun the fire. The fact is that we've got to make sure that every single day as we go into our summer season, as we go into our holiday season, that we are preparing everyone what to do to prevent fires and how dangerous our fire conditions are. This year, we have frankly definitely learned from the past fire seasons, from the 2020 fire season, as well as the 2021 fire season. And thankfully, we are more prepared than we have ever been. We know also how to fight these fires to keep the tragic fires and conditions down. So this year, our ground resources are already ready. We have them pre-positioned in the east and west sides of our state. Training of our seasonal firefighters is wrapping up this month. We've got crews, equipment on the ground, and aircraft positioned in every corner of the state so they can get to any fire, no matter where it starts, within 30 minutes or less. We've been doing a lot better at keeping everyone safe as a result. Last year, we only had one severe injury among our firefighters. It was one of our safest fire seasons, even though we had over 1,800 fires, and we had more fires west of the Cascades and more fires within high density urban areas. So if you think about it, we put thousands of work hours and thousands of firefighters every summer on the fire line to protect us. And we were fortunate to only have one severe injury. Our goal is to have none. And it starts with us. It starts with our public being aware of fire conditions and preventing the fires from starting in the first place. And that's why we're truly urging, and we're going to be out and about constantly hammering the message home that we need people to do everything they can to prevent these fires and be one less spark. So far this year, we've already seen 215 fires. I did a press conference a week ago, and I think we were around 140 fires. So it just shows you that we are every single day increasing the count on the number of fires. 83 of those fires were on the west side of the state, and 132 of them east of the Cascades. Fortunately, you may remember, we had 80-degree temperatures on Mother's Day weekend. So even though it's cooler here today and over the past few days with some moisture, our landscape has been dry already. Fortunately, we've only burned 168 acres in total, which truly is a testament to our readiness and our preparedness. It's a testament to what we have learned about the past decade of fires seasons, so that we can do far better in getting on these fires quickly. The fact is, we were able last year and 2022 and 2023 to keep 90% of our fires below 10 acres. Our goal is to keep 90% below 10 acres. And that's largely a testament to the investment we've made at the local and ground level, as well as in our aviation resources. In fact, 2022 and 2023 marked 2 consecutive years where fewer than 200,000 acres burned statewide. This is the first time that has occurred in Washington State since 2010, 2011. And yet, at the same time, we still saw hundreds of fires. We had an increase, like I said, last year was one of the highest number in record of fires, and increasing geography, increasing length of season. And yet we are still making significant progress, but we need to still make sure we're all doing everything we can and to prevent these fires. And a perfect example is you can be as prepared as ever and have significant resources, and yet still have the tragedies that we had last year with the Spokane County fires, the Oregon Road Fire and the Gray Fire, where we had 17 fires within 24 hours, 2 of them within one county alone, and high winds that taxed all of our resources on the ground and made it difficult for our resources in the air to be able to get on those fires and contain them. And as a result, we had hundreds of homes burn and lost 2 people's lives. And so as we head into Memorial Day weekend, this is critical for everyone to remember that most wildfires are caused by humans, that every single person in Washington State can be part of our firefighting team. We're not going to put Pulaskis in their hands or put them on the fire line. We're just going to ask them to please be one less spark and preventing these fires in the first place and making it a very, very safe holiday weekend and a very, very safe summer. I'm happy now to introduce Sam Hensold. He's DNR's Recreation Operations Manager. You're used to hearing from our meteorologists and our wildfire specialists, but we think this is a great opportunity for you to connect with our recreation manager to help give a report on the conditions of our landscape and also some tips that recreationists can do to prevent these fires in the first place and be safe out on the landscape. So with that, I'm going to introduce Sam. Sam, I'm looking forward to hearing how our forests are doing today. And I appreciate all you do to help get people outside safely enjoying our beautiful landscape in Washington State. Take it away, Sam.
Great. Yeah. Thank you, Commissioner. It feels a little bit ironic to be talking about wildfire preparedness as I'm currently sheltering from the rain under a big leaf maple tree out here in Western Washington. But the fact of the matter is, it's actually quite dry under the canopy of the tree, despite the rain that we're getting right now. And as folks know, if you've been out in Eastern Washington recently, as I was camping with my family a few weekends ago, things are expectedly much drier out there. And also, if you've been out on the trails around the state, you probably noticed spring mud being replaced by dry soil or even dust in a lot of places. And like you've been talking about, Commissioner, that means it's wildfire season. So let's help our firefighters stay safe and protect our lands this season by practicing good prevention and recreating responsibly. People need to be vigilant about checking campfire restrictions where they're out playing. And we all love to sit around a campfire and roast s'mores, but it's critical we do it responsibly and follow local rules. It's also important to never leave flames unattended, always be careful with fireworks, and do your part to prevent the spread of wildfires. You can also avoid parking, driving, or idling on tall, dry grass and keep vehicles on established roads and trails. Also, if you're using motorized toys like ATVs or motorcycles, make sure you have spark arresters. And if you're towing those toys with a camper, or a camper, you can put them in the camper too. I know some people have the toy haulers. Check that your tow chains are tight and not dragging on the pavement, leaving sparks behind. And if you are outside when a fire starts, or if you see smoke nearby, it's crucial that you heed local evacuation warnings and can change your plans quickly. Remember that many trails don't have the cell service you may be used to, and that means you should always have a backup plan in case of an emergency or a fire. Finally, be sure you have the right pass for the area you're headed. The Discover Pass is your ticket to DNR lands across the state. Now, I'll throw it back to you, Commissioner. Have a great holiday, everybody.
Thank you, Sam. We love to see more folks getting outside. We truly really encourage more people to get outside and appreciate the beautiful landscape we have, and it helps them be more physically, mentally, and emotionally healthy. We know that we saw it for sure during COVID. We also want to, as you know, make sure people are staying safe and recreating responsibly. I want to stress that if you're doing yard work over the weekend, I know this is a time where everybody wants to get out and do spring cleaning. We urge people to check burn restrictions always and make sure you have water and a shovel handy in case burn piles get away. As I've said before, not only today, but in previous years, almost 40% of our wildfires have been from burning yard debris. If it's windy and it's dry, it may be best to wait for another day. Also, never leave your burn pile unattended and make sure it is fully extinguished when done. If you're using any lawnmower, chainsaw, or weed eater, keep an eye out for any spark. This is something I didn't know until I became Commissioner of Public Lands, how it's too easy for a spark to happen and then quickly get away. It just takes one inadvertent spark to threaten our communities and our firefighters. So this is my final wildfire season as your Commissioner of Public Lands, and I just wanted to take this moment, one, to thank all of you in the media for your dedication and hard work. I can't thank you enough for helping spread the word about how important it is that people do everything they can to reduce starting these fires and what to do to make their homes and their communities and neighborhoods more safe from fire, as well as your work in actually reflecting the unbelievably difficult and challenging work our firefighters put in and do, and how important it is we're trying to keep everyone safe. When I took office in 2017, Washington was still reeling from 3 years of horrific wildfires. In 2015, over 1 million acres of our state burned, and just a few months, and over 2,000 ignitions sparked statewide. 3 firefighters tragically lost their lives fighting the Twist River fire. I think we all had a wake-up call for the high risk and dangers of fires in Washington State. We have seen now over the years how where we might have thought this was something that just applied to Central and Eastern Washington, now not any corner of our state is immune from the risk of wildfires. We now also know that we have a growing population and homes that are even more at risk of wildfires as the area of wildfire risk has grown. And the great news is with all the risk and all the concerns and the growing challenges we're facing in wildfires in every corner, the fact is we're more prepared than we've ever been with not only the team we need on the ground at the local, state, and federal level, but also the team we need in the air with new technologies that we're using to identify fires quicker and get on them. And also the work that our friend Smokey Bear and many of our community members are doing about spreading the word that only you can prevent forest fires. So if you're lucky enough to enjoy a campfire outside this year, we're urging people to be safe, to make sure they enjoy this summer and they keep it safe for themselves, their family, and their communities, and especially for our firefighters who are putting their lives on the line every single day for us. We hope to see you outside. We hope to enjoy the great outdoors this summer. We hope to have clear blue skies, and we hope everyone is safe. So thank you, everyone. Please, from all of us at the Department of Natural Resources, don't set the state on fire. Let's be one less spark out there. Thank you.
Recording stopped.